Today's episode of the Bill Simmons podcast is brought to you by SeatGeek, our presenting sponsor and our favorite app for buying and selling tickets for sports and music. Go to SeatGeek.com/BS to start using SeatGeek, and don't forget to download the free SeatGeek app. Enter promo code BS. SeatGeek sends you $20 upon your first purchase. You should do this. Opening day is coming up. Lots of baseball tickets on SeatGeek. Today's Bill Simmons podcast episode brought to you by Simply Safe. Oh yeah, we've talked about them on here. They'll give you 24/7 award-winning protection for just $14.99 a month with no contracts or hidden fees. Start or cancel service when it works for you. Protect your house, protect your apartment, protect your condo. Studies show that security systems deter burglars at a rate of 90%. For home security you can trust, go to simplysafebill.com and save 10%. And today's episode of the BS Podcast is brought to you by The Ringer, my new website/digital venture that launches this summer. You can subscribe to our new newsletter at theringer.com. The early responses have been really good. All right, before we get to the David Duchovny podcast, we actually taped that last Friday, and we taped it because we were trying out some stuff for the HBO show I'm working on. And one of the things we wanted to try was just a really loose podcast, but actually then use the podcast for the BS podcast. So we taped it on Friday, and then 6 days later, Gary Shandling dies. And you're going to listen to the podcast, and we actually talk about him, and we talk about Larry Sanders, the show. We talk about how Duchovny ended up on that show, and it's just bizarre that this happened, and really sad. He was one of the comedy icons for me. And just a quick story just about how influential that show was. HBO, I think for the first, I think I got HBO like 1979 or 1980. At the time you just got this little box on the top of your TV. I was living with my dad in Brookline. They put the box on top of the TV and you could turn it on or off, and then HBO would just take over your TV basically. And we got it for the boxing, and we got it because they had movies. And then eventually cable starts in 1982. So HBO has been in my life really since I was 10. And they always were good at movies, and they were always good at boxing, and they were always really good at comedy specials. The whole scripted thing, it took them a while to get. And if you look at the 1980s, First and 10, The Hitchhiker, which was great for nudity, that's about it. Although I did like the theme song. Dream On started in 1990. Like they never really figured out the scripted thing. Larry Sanders started in 1992. Shandling was somebody that, people always thought was going to have a late night show. He was somebody that subbed for Carson a lot. He would always kill when he was on talk shows. He had a really good show called It's Gary Shandling Show. I think that's what the title was. That was on Showtime, and it kind of broke the third wall and did all kinds of stuff. But it was raw. Like, it wasn't the great show he was going to make. And at some point, I think people thought he was going to host a late night show. And instead what he did was created his own TV show, which was about somebody who hosted a late night show. And if you watch it, it's hard to find. Like, they have all the DVDs now, but I think there's been some legal issues. Like, it's not on HBO now. It's one of the only iconic HBO shows that you can't get on HBO now. I'm not sure it's on any streaming service, but if you watch the first couple seasons, the pieces hadn't fallen into place yet with the show totally, but the characters were great. The premise was great. It's really good. I mean, it was by far the best show HBO had just for scripted. But as it went on, it really turned into something special. And, Judd Apatow was behind the scenes, and I think Hank Kingsley, which was played by Jeffrey Tambor, who's had a lot of success since the show. Rip Torn, who peaked on that show and was phenomenal. Jeanine Garofalo was on there, Wallace Langham, a whole bunch of great people. But the last couple seasons of that show, in my opinion, were the first really event scripted programming HBO ever had. And, especially the last couple years, and we talk about this on the Duchovny Bot, so I'm gonna go over this again, but we get together to watch these shows. You get together with your friends. It was by far the most clever and sophisticated and smart show that was on TV. It was just the best. It wasn't even close. I guess maybe you compare it to, I don't think you compare it to anything now, actually. It just was clearly the best. It was competing against mostly network shows and the NBC lineup and Friends, and Seinfeld was great, but Seinfeld was starting to peter out around 90, 96, 97. Sanders could take more chances. Sanders could really push the envelope. It turned the tables on celebrities that have celebrities coming out and playing themselves, but and sometimes making fun of themselves. Like there's a famous scene when Norm Macdonald gets into it with Henry Winkler on the couch. It just had so many great moments. And for somebody like me living in Boston, living in Charlestown, who always had been fascinated by LA and all these people, I just loved it. I couldn't wait for it to come on. I was living with my roommate at the time and all the people I was working with at this bar restaurant we would get together on Sunday nights and watch the show. And I remember there was one season finale. We must have had 25 people. Somebody was talking. There was almost a fight. I mean, it was crazy. And people didn't get together like that for HBO shows. This was the first one. And then you had Oz. Then you had Sex and the City. And then finally the Sopranos. And that's really when HBO became, the Harvard of television, basically. But I just thought it's one of the great shows ever. It's certainly one of the most influential shows for me, just as a creative person. I've watched them so many different times, and I actually got to meet Shandling and spend some time with them at this boxing. I forget what card it was, but Pete Berg invited me, and he was there, and got to spend 6-7 hours with him, and I just couldn't stop talking to him about the show, and he loved it, and just loved talking about it, and loved hearing my thoughts and arguing about characters and things they should have done, and he just couldn't get enough of it. And I think after he had that show, I don't think he ever really recovered from having it. Even when you see like the DVD where he went and he interviewed all these different celebrities that had been on the show, and that was these bonus footage that he had in the DVD. He just loved talking about the show. And it's weird. I always think when people die, especially when they haven't been, maybe they don't feel like they're appreciated or whatever. And actually when you die, especially somebody like him or Robin Williams, you see it time and time again, David Bowie, and it becomes this 3-day just love fest, and people talking about how great they were and everybody writing these awesome pieces. And it always seems unfair that the person that died didn't get to read those pieces. I don't know if he's number one, but I think Shandling would have enjoyed the 3-day tributes and the essays and just everything. I think he would have enjoyed that the most of anybody. So we talk about him on this podcast, and we decided to leave it in just because A, it's interesting, and B, it just kind of shows you kind of how short life is. Because 6 days ago we were talking about the guy, like he's here, and there you go. So anyway, here, R.I.P. Gary Shandling, a true great. I'm not about to cry. I actually need water. Tate, I don't mean to make you embarrassed. my voice is scratchy, but I am really gonna miss this guy. And I was really hoping that he had one more great creative thing lurking somewhere, but we'll never know. Anyway, R.I.P. Gary Shandling, and here's the Duchovny podcast as promised.
Yeah. Clear enough for you? All right.
Yeah. Did they ever play Tupac on the X-Files in the 90s or no?
Did they play? No, I played Tupac
in my car.
In
your trailer?
In my car, but not, no. California, that song. Knows How to Party? That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That was big for me.
David Duchovny.
Yeah.
TV star, movie star, author. Bucky fucking Dent.
Yeah, we can
swear on the podcast. It's not ESPN anymore. It's a new home for me.
It was a big deal with, the title of the book is on the book, so we couldn't put fucking, we had to put an asterisk, and it was a big controversy about whether we should use the ampersand or the and, or the,
there was an asterisk controversy?
Yeah, there was an asterisk controversy. Yeah, but it is Bucky fucking Dent.
Well, I remember at some point when I was at my former employer, we talked about a possible movie. Yeah, it was back in the days when ESPN was still making movies and stuff.
You were very helpful about that. I tried.
You did.
and I appreciate that.
Well, because I hated Bucky Dent, so I really wanted a movie that was called Bucky fucking Dent.
Yeah.
It really excited me. I
Well,
wanted the poster in my house, the whole thing.
It came to me because I'm from New York, unlike you, and I just know him as.
I know you're from New York. I was trying not to bring that up.
And I just know Bucky Dent.
Yeah.
And Taya has a family house in Massachusetts, and it says this in the book in the acknowledgments, but that one day I was just hanging out outside the house, and there were two guys working on the roof, and I just heard one say what sounded like Bucky fucking Dent, you know, and I was just like, well,
Just
what?
years and years later?
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is that? And then I asked about it, and it's like, you can't. He is not known as Bucky Dent in New England. He's only known as Bucky fucking Dent and Bill fucking Buckner.
Yeah. What's weird is 2004, I think, softened a lot of that, but I still, the 78 playoff game made me cry. I was 9 years old. I literally cried. Tears came out of my eyes.
Well,
I had to be consoled. It was terrible.
Who consoled you?
My dad.
What did he say? We're going to win one in 30 years? Is that what he said?
No, it was more not knowing what to say. I don't think you ever know what to say when your kids are crying, other than you just kind of rub their back and you hope they stop, because they're half you, and it feels like you're having this out-of-body experience. Your kid's in pain. You can't stop
and
it.
You don't have the answer. I mean, the answer is you lose sometimes.
Well, the 78 playoff game, we blew like a 14-game lead over the course of 7-8 weeks.
It's all in there.
Yeah,
You'll read all about it.
Then we rallied back. Nobody remembers the rally back.
When I was researching the book, I was surprised that I think they won their last 6 games.
Yeah, we had so, and everything led to the Monday playoff game. And what happened was everyone stayed home from school.
That's right. Yeah.
Which, was almost like a holiday or like an assassination, or like there's very few events that would just everybody would agree, yeah, we're not going to school today.
Right.
And we all stayed home, and the game was at I think like 4 o'clock or 3
it
o'clock.
It
ended
ended
at
at 5:22.
Yeah. So it was early afternoon.
2:30. Yeah.
Yeah, and the shadows started coming late, but yeah, everybody was home.
Yeah.
And then Yaz came up, and I wrote about this in my Red Sox book. Like Yaz was the window to the tortured soul of Red Sox fans. He's like this chain smoking Polish guy who just was on all these
From
teams
the
that just came very close but not quite, and just was wearing the.
And he'd
86
already hit a
years.
home run that day, hadn't he?
Who did?
Yeah, he hit a home run earlier.
Yeah. So then he comes up, the shadows, guy on third base, 2 outs, Gossage. He's throwing 130 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And he just kind of check swings. It was so unsatisfying. I just would have rather he struck out.
Did he foul out to Nettles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than a game ending on a foul pop. I'd rather have like the batter get hit in the head and die, and then just forfeit for the game than over a foul pop. Yeah.
So I think it was one of those guys that does a lot of memorabilia stuff for the Yankees. Johnstone or Johnston, Dave.
Jay Johnstone?
Is it Jay Johnstone?
The former clown prince of baseball?
Yes.
You know how that happens when somebody's like tiny bit funny, but they become a clown prince?
Well, it happened to Ron Jeremy in porn, didn't it?
Yeah.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah. He was funny for different reasons.
Same kind of designation.
Yeah.
So I saw Jay Johnstone at something somewhere, and he told me about that pitch. And he said that Nettles was at third pounding his glove and saying, "Pop him up, Goose, pop him up, pop him up."
Right.
And the ball goes up, and it's coming towards Nettles, and Nettles goes, "Not to me."
Well, he probably knew the lefty batter, the check, it's going.
If he's late,
it's going that way.
He'd pop him up.
It really hurt. It hurt my feelings. Yeah. And then 86 hurt my feelings. And then 2003, the Boone homer, which kind of has been lost in history because the Red Sox won a year later. But that was really the darkest moment, just thinking it was never going to happen, and I was just going to live my whole life, and then I was going to die.
And now you got too many of them.
Now I can't even keep track. We won 3, we won 4.
Don't you miss feeling?
No.
Oh, you don't?
No.
It's my theory that Sox fans actually miss their status as perennial whatever it was.
I don't know if it's a missing, but it definitely doesn't feel like life or death anymore.
See, it took something away from you winning. There's a lesson there for your kids.
I would compare it to if you were a virgin unintentionally through your 40s and 50s.
Right.
And then it happened, and it was like even better than you thought it was.
Right.
But you don't remember like the 4th time you lost your virginity.
Well, it's not a possibility, is it?
Right. I mean, but like nobody remembers the 4th time I had sex.
I remember the 4th time you had sex.
Yeah, I remember. Thank you. Yeah. So I think it doesn't. The stakes aren't the same. But I don't regret a thing. It's so much better to have the peace. The worst thing about being a Red Sox fan during that whole time was them torturing us with the footage.
Yeah.
So like things would be going well, and then they come out of commercial, and Joe Buck would be like, "Hey, in case you forgot, the Red Sox fans have been fucked for the last 80 years, and here's a montage.
Right.
Here's Bill Buckner, the ball going through his leg, and you knew it was coming. Yeah.
It's always Fisk.
It was the same beats and the same networks playing it the same way over and over and over again. And it was like, enough already. Can we just win? I want this to end.
Yeah.
Now the Yankee fans are in that situation because in the 21st century, they've only won one title, which was totally tainted by A-Rod and all of his cheating. I feel like it's tainted.
Don't make me go to the Sox roster that won in 2004. Don't make me.
Never broke a law. Never suspended. Nobody's suspended on the Red Sox.
Ortiz looks strange to me.
He's looked the same for 20 years. He looks like Florida from Good Times with muscle.
He got a lot better quickly at some point in his career.
He got a lot better when he came to the Red Sox.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah.
I see.
He needed some East Coast love. He finally felt home.
And who was on the Red Sox at that time?
A lot of suspects. My thing is, I think everyone was cheating. But like, prove to me you're not cheating from 1990 to 2005.
I think they should drop it. They should just drop the whole thing.
Did you have to ever do PEDs or anything for a movie?
No.
You ever have to jack up?
No, but I think like people that work drunk should they give, because alcohol calms your nerves and acting is often about controlling your nerves.
That's a PED.
Right. So should all those actors give their awards back for being drunk while they were working?
That's a lot of actors.
That's right. So
that's a lot of actors.
I just say, to me, the serious question is with kids. Like, kids should not be doing these drugs before their bodies are formed, right? That's really the question.
Yeah, we unanimously agree on that.
Right.
I think in America.
It's one of the things we agree on.
Giving not totally grown yet kids drugs, we're all in alignment. Even Trump agrees.
Even Trump. So to me, it's like if you decide to be a professional athlete, then you can decide to manipulate your body the way you want to. You're an adult.
Painkillers.
Well, all these guys they're on great training regimens, they're on great vitamin regimens. Who knows whether it's good for you or not? Personally, I would either allow everything or make everything illegal, because the other part of me watches these athletes get bigger and stronger and more superhuman every year. And I have trouble, honestly, relating to what they're doing on the field now. It used to be, and I'm delusional, yes, but it used to be, I used to sit there and go, hey, maybe I could get out there and pinch hit. No, I would. Or maybe I could throw up a 3.
Right.
I don't feel that way anymore. And I think a lot of it has to do with training and with drugs and stuff that they're doing. So I'm all for bringing sports down to the human scale. I don't, and you might disagree, and I think a lot of people would, but I'd rather watch a game in which I felt like it was relatable physically than unrelatable, than watching like an Avenger movie or something.
Don't you feel like that's why people have enjoyed? Weird? No, I don't think it's weird at all. I think that's why people have enjoyed Steph Curry so much.
Oh, probably.
Because he's the most relatable star that we've had really since Bird. Bird was the last guy everybody was like, yeah, that's a tall, goofy white guy that doesn't run that fast. I kind of feel like he's the best possible version of people I've played with.
Right.
And Curry is doing these things.
Well, you don't have to be tainted with racism for liking Curry either, which is good.
Well, Curry transcends all races.
No, he does.
He's the first perfect human being.
And he's a perfect color.
He brings all countries together. Yeah. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's in central casting. You
love Steph, huh?
I do. You know what I really like? I never totally talked myself into LeBron or Kobe eras. Jordan was the last guy for me.
I think we argued about LeBron, you and I, at one point.
What side did I take?
You were anti-LeBron.
Well, but I worked for ESPN, which meant I was allowed to change my opinion one way or the other, depending on how it suited me.
Right.
I was
anti-LeBron at first too, but now I think he's an amazing. Not only is he amazing,
that's where I am right now.
But I think he's got the secret to quote your. Was that what you called it?
To regenerate his hair?
No, not that secret. That's lost. Charles Barkley said he was talking about LeBron. They had a picture of it. He said God gave everything to that man except her,
and he's the only one who could say that. Yeah, I think LeBron and Kobe, like just going to see them in person, versus when you go see Curry in person now, or when you saw Jordan in person 20 years ago, it's just slightly different. Like the way people react when he walks out.
like that could be me.
People with the cameras taking pictures of him, and just everybody's just watching him the whole time. And LeBron and Kobe were a lot like that, but there's an excitement. Like what Curry
David Robinson.
Well, he was just more a specimen.
He was perfect.
He walked in and like, Jesus,
that guy.
Is that a human being?
Right.
Am I a member of that species? But Curry, the thing that's been fascinating for me with him is just how he gets teams when he's on the road. These people are rooting for him, and they're rooting for the home team, but yet he does stuff, and people are reacting like he's on their team, and then they catch themselves. That's been the recurring theme over and over again. When he gets hot, or when he pulls up from 31 or 32,
who does
it's
that?
so fucking exciting. You're like, oh, and then you're like, oh, sorry guys.
It doesn't make any sense. His range at this point. I don't know how he got there.
It's like it reminds me of when Tiger Woods.
Well, it's like that.
Was
It's
hitting
also
those drives down the fairways for 6 years, and we're like, Jesus, do we have to change the course in the Masters?
It's
what
also
do we
like
do?
the 4-minute mile, and I think it has to do with human psychology. Is once, and you see it with dunking, you see it with Jordan, because a lot of people play like Jordan now.
Yeah.
But they didn't before Jordan or Dr. J. So I think it's just human psychology. Once they broke the 4-minute mile, once you start seeing that this is possible, then everybody else starts to do it, because it just becomes a possibility to the human psyche in that way.
Or the worst case scenario, which is how I think this probably plays out. I think people try to replicate something that's not really replicable.
They just start chucking.
How many Jordan imitators were there? I mean, you were going to those games. You were like a legitimate celebrity for the first time in the 90s.
Right.
As those games are, you go to MSG, you're getting
John
courtside
Starks.
seats.
John
yeah.
Starks.
You're watching all these people just do MJ imitations.
Yeah.
And, clear out, guys. I got this. And really, he was the only one who could totally do that.
Yeah. I guess Kobe was the only guy who came in and kind of did it afterwards.
Yeah, he did a poor man's imitation of it.
But I was talking about LeBron for your version in your book.
Yeah.
What did you call it? The Secret? Am I wrong? Or
that was my thing. Yeah,
right. And I feel like LeBron got it. He didn't start with it, but he's got it now.
I think he has most of it. I think his
Kobe
leadership.
never got it.
Kobe never got it. Kobe was like,
LeBron got it.
I understand the secret, but I'm going to try to do it this way.
Doesn't seem as interesting to me.
Yeah. How about I win and you guys rebound? LeBron, I feel like he's 92% there. There's this weird leadership thing with him where he doesn't, like if
the coach firing and that.
Let's say you're filming the.
You know what the starting backcourt was when I rode the bench at Princeton in the early '80s?
Yeah.
Dave Blatt and Steve Mills.
What?
How do you like that? Silence.
I'm stupefied. Those are two characters in the NBA right now.
Well, one.
So did you stay in touch with Dave Blatt?
No, but Steve.
You should have. We could have had all this LeBron dirt.
I know I should. Well, maybe one day.
Like LeBron just took him behind the stadium and ran him over with his car, basically.
Steve, I see at the Garden when I go.
So when you started going, when did you become celebrity gets to go? Oh,
when I get
David Duchovny would like seats.
Free tickets.
Yeah. He's courtside next to Woody Allen. When did that happen?
No. Woody doesn't have courtside. Woody pays for his own tickets.
Right.
And
I thought he was courtside though.
No.
Oh.
No. Woody,
he's in like row 2.
Yeah, he's a few rows back, and
sorry,
he pays.
Woody.
I gotta say. I mean,
They probably don't want him to courtside.
I don't know if they want him or not, but
a-
he's totally clean. He's got integrity. I have none.
Right.
I have
so you're
none.
just taking tickets.
Yes, I just take tickets.
Did you call the first time or did they offer them to you?
I don't know how that worked. I really don't remember, but I was in the building when Starks dunked over Jordan.
Oh.
That was cool.
That
was a big moment in NBA.
God bless the Knicks fans. They've only won one title in like 70 years. I know they don't have a lot to grasp onto. He dunked near Jordan.
No, he dunked on
Nah,
Jordan.
he dunked near him. Jordan was he passed through. It wasn't a dunking on.
We'll have to.
It wasn't like Pippen dunking on Ewing.
We'll have to look at the tape.
Pippen dunked on Ewing and then he stood over and like shook his dong in front of him and stepped over him. Like that was dunking on.
He actually took his dong out.
He took his dong out. He hit Ewing with it.
That was before video, I guess.
So did anyone ever talk to you? When you're sitting courtside these games, did any weird NBA player just be like, hey, man, I love the X-Files?
I think Tim Hardaway made an obscene gesture at Taya when we were sitting.
Ooh, like in a way you felt
I didn't
like
see it, but she said, I think he just did something like
I'll see you after the game, or like just screw you.
no, like
Like it was like, hey, lady.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. But I didn't see it.
That's an honor. I think you'd feel honored by that.
I didn't bother me
that's
at
great.
all. I was like, why not me? You know, what's wrong with me?
Let's dance.
I want to talk about his crossover. You got nothing to talk to him about.
Who?
Taya, I'm saying.
Oh,
you
yeah,
got
yeah.
nothing to talk to that guy about, and why isn't he looking at me? I can talk about that crossover with him.
So we told this story the last time, but the podcast belongs to ESPN, so let's tell it again.
Right.
You were the runner-up choice for White Men Can't Jump.
Well, not a runner-up, but
Well, I like to say that you're the runner-up now. Now that
I like
the
the
years
way
passed,
you tell my history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so close.
As far as I'm
I was
concerned, you were
right
the
there.
runner-up.
I was right there.
You tested for that part.
Sure.
You did. I thought you did.
Well, a lot of guys did. But yeah.
A lot of white guys who could play basketball.
Well, no, that was the thing. Before they would even let you act, they had to see if you could play ball at all.
Yeah.
And
So what happened to Wesley Snipes? How did he get cast?
well, exactly. That's a good.
It's a
all his,
fly
all
in
his
the
shit
ointment
was
of
in
that
slow
movie.
motion.
Yeah.
You see the ball
A lot of this
leaving.
high stuff. Come on, Wesley.
Right. So we all went down there, and I forget where it was, big gym somewhere, and we were playing 3-on-3s in front of somebody who was judging us.
So was this like white guy palooza?
I think
70
there
white
was some
guys
black
playing
guys
basketball?
in there too. I think they were just.
Oh, they're Philip.
I think they were just whoever wanted to audition. They were, and I think they were honestly trying. They were open to finding an unknown. You know,
Right.
white or black.
For Billy Hoyle? Billy Hoyle had to be white.
No. I mean
Yeah, I got
for
you.
both roles.
Gotcha.
And Wesley was a big star at the time, so I don't know if they had already had him or they were looking for an unknown or whatever.
It feels like the studio kind of
Maybe.
like, hey,
But
what about Wesley Snipes?
I think it was actually a pretty low budget film.
Yeah.
And so we were down there, and we were getting put on these 3-on-3 games. And I remember I was playing against an actor named Billy Campbell, who's a big athletic guy, but he'd never played basketball before, and he was dangerous. He was like,
Oh, those are the worst.
like a rugby player.
Yeah, you thought you were going to get hurt.
Like a good athlete, but just playing it like rugby.
That's why they cast him in Enough with Jennifer Lopez years
'cause
later as
he
the
could kick
abusive
ass.
ex-husband. Yeah, they heard about his casting.
Yeah, he was strong. So anyway, I was on a team with Patrick Cassidy, I believe.
This is great. These are the name drops I've been looking for.
Am I going to regret this?
No,
I mean,
this is
they all
awesome.
gonna-
I
they're all
love
gonna
this.
come
Who else
after
was
me
on the
after this?
team? I love this.
And
Patrick Cassidy.
I don't know the other guy.
He was
No,
like
but
an
this is-
F-list
No,
celebrity.
this is part of the story.
Dustin
is that
Diamond.
I don't know the other
Okay.
guy. So it's me, Patrick Cassidy, and I don't know the other guy. So we start playing, and I don't know the other guy is just passing to Patrick Cassidy, and Patrick Cassidy is shooting.
They're freezing you out.
I'm not getting the ball unless I rebound it, and then I'm a team player. I throw it to somebody else.
You
and
know
I
the
don't,
secret.
I don't get. I do know the secret, and I don't get it back. Ask Coach Burns if I know the secret. He'll tell you. So we're walking off the court, and I don't think I took a shot. And I say to, I don't know the other guy as we're leaving, and he's small, this guy. He doesn't seem like he would be good for any role. And I said, well, what are you doing here? Who are you here to read for? And he said, no, Patrick just brought me here to pass to him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why you didn't get the movie?
Who, Patrick or me?
Patrick Cassidy's buddy?
Oh, no. Honestly, I don't think I was ready for that kind of a role yet. If it would have been 5-6 years later, I mean, everything I've done in my career, I think I had to get ready for it. Like, I wasn't one of these guys that came out able to do it. And I think I wasn't ready yet. Even if I got it, it probably would have been bad for me.
How many years after was California? Was that like 2-3 years later?
It's right around that time.
It's a creepy movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's a weird serial killer genre run there in the early 90s.
Right. There's independent films were kind of like Natural Born Killers,
Henry
California.
Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Right, yeah.
There's a bunch of those. California.
Yeah, it's true.
Just gruesome deaths and people trying to find people.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good movie, though.
It was all right.
Brad Pitt.
Brad and
Young
Juliet.
Brad Pitt. Did you know?
Yeah. Did I know?
Did you know he was going to be an A-plus lister?
I'd seen Thelma and Louise, and he was just such a star in that.
Stealing scenes.
Oh, just with the abs.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like, yeah, That seemed like a movie star. But he was a terrific guy, and
I took a date to that movie, and I got lucky that night. And
You did?
I think it was because of Brad Pitt. I don't think I did anything.
Was that the
I
fourth
think he
time you
just
lost your virginity?
sauced her up. Yeah, it was like number 7. But you were the last generation of, if you come along 10 years later, you get thrown into a superhero movie within like 3 movies. They're like, oh, this Duchovny character, he seems like he's gaining some steam. Let's put a mask on him.
Right. I could have been the Green Lantern or something like that.
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah, are there any superheroes left to?
Oh, there's a lot.
There are.
Yeah.
I never, as a kid, I never read that. I didn't know.
Would you have done
books.
one if they had just been like, here's a giant check and
probably
you have to be on a
I
poster?
probably would have been convinced by agents and managers that it was a good move to do, and that it would, it would allow me to do the kind of work that I want to do.
One for them, one for you.
10 for them, 1 for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I like the career arc. I think it was better the way it played out.
It's not bad. I mean, I sometimes I get frustrated. Sometimes I want more in the movies, but for the most part, like I said, honestly, I feel like I'm a slow but deep learner, and things came to me at a decent time. And if they'd come earlier, I could have really embarrassed myself. But now I feel very good about like my craft and my handle on what it is that I do. So I feel okay about it.
We're going to take a quick break to talk about our buddies at Betterment. If you're Golden State, the best way to invest for the future is by signing Steph Curry to a cheap long-term deal, drafting Draymond Green in the second round, and then saying no to a Klay Thompson, Kevin Love trade, and then you build around the best shooting backcourt of all time. Now that is investing in your future. For everyone else, the best way to invest for your future is Betterment, the automated investing service that builds and automatically manages a customized portfolio for each of your financial goals. Betterment handles nearly 150,000 customers and manages close to $4 billion for people just like you. Save yourself time and money, give yourself peace of mind, and do it for a fraction of the cost of traditional investment services. It's so easy to invest with Betterment. You just link your bank account and roll over your 401k or IRA and you're ready to roll. So get up to 6 months of free automated investing and more information when you go to betterment.com/BS. Betterment, investing made better. And since we're here, let's talk about Slack. It's the unofficially official messaging app for The Ringer. Our whole staff uses it. We plan our newsletter with it. We plan our website with it. We plan our podcasting future with it. And we especially make fun of Tate with it. So Slack is a messaging app for teams. Instead of searching through hundreds of emails and texts, Slack brings all your work communication into one place and radically increases transparency between those teams. Your disjointed conversations will no longer be disjointed, and your internal emails will be cut down by almost 50%. They also have nearly 100 integrations, including Dropbox, MailChimp, and Google Drive. Visit slack.com/Bill Simmons and create a new team. You'll get $100 in credit you can use when you decide to upgrade to a paid plan. Slack.com. And thanks, Slack, for making life at The Ringer a lot easier. Back to the David Duchovny interview. Sanders bought you some street cred.
It did.
That was like the premier street cred show. I don't know what the equivalent would be now, but in the mid-late 90s, Sanders was the move.
Yeah.
If you killed on Sanders, that was like the best thing you could do on TV.
I don't know what the equivalent is.
Well, now it's like all these like weird, quirky.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, there's so many niche shows now.
I guess 30 Rock was a good one a few years ago.
Yeah.
But Sanders, did you ever meet Gary?
I did. I actually spent a whole day with him
That's
once.
right. He told me that he enjoyed meeting him.
I went to a boxing match with him and Pete Berg. I love Sanders.
Pete's a good guy too. Pete's a good friend.
I love Shanley. I mean, I get them confused. No, I like
they own a boxing gym together. Did you know that?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm actually uncomfortable around Shanley because that show was like my favorite show, and I don't know how to be around people that like I genuinely loved.
Yeah.
And it's just weird to just hear them talking and just being a normal person, and I was just constantly thinking like, oh my God, if I had told myself that this was going to happen in 97 when we would have like Larry Sanders parties.
Right. Well, I the reason I got on Sanders was because I was in Vancouver shooting the X-Files, and I was obsessed with the show.
Yeah.
And I would get the tapes, VHS tapes sent to me in Vancouver, and I'd watch Sanders, and I said to my agents, I don't care about any, I just can I get on that show?
I'll do anything.
Yeah. And
I'll even have a homoerotic crush on Larry. I don't care.
that was later after we became friends. But the first time I did the show, I play myself who gets bumped by, of all people, Bill Cosby, because Cosby goes too long on the show, and I get bumped.
I'm laying off that one.
Well, it's historical record.
Yeah.
I have to enter it.
Yeah.
You know. So
I had like 7 jokes, but I laid off of all of them.
yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah.
So
Good non-joke
yeah.
effort by both of us.
Yeah. So it was funny because I just turn into I'm very nice, and then I get bumped by Cosby, and then I turn into an asshole, and that was just that episode. And then Gary and I became friends, and after that we were talking about what else can you do, and then we came up with the Man Crush thing later on.
Did he invite you into his basketball game?
Yeah, that's when
You're probably way too good to be in that basketball game.
Well, there's some good players.
Come on.
No, there were some good players,
stop.
and it's more for the
It's more for the hang.
It is. It was a great, and you would eat afterwards. You'd watch football, be on a Sunday. It was a great. Those were great Sunday afternoons.
So then, when you flashed your scrotum on the show, you never knew that the YouTube internet
really?
freeze
Can you
frame
see
error
my
was
scrotum?
coming. Oh, well, couldn't you see it for like a split second?
Honestly, I've never really. I know what it looks like. I don't need to. I don't need to see it on video.
That would be. See, it's
What
such a shame.
The story behind that is, and it's very showbiz, and I'm going to sound like an asshole telling it.
No,
but
please.
There was a Golden Globes, and I came down from Vancouver, and Tay and I were staying in the Four Seasons because I was living in Vancouver, and I invited Gary over after the award ceremony. We were just hanging out, having some drinks, and I was in my robe because I'd come home and I got all that makeup and shit off me.
Yeah.
And we're just sitting around. I said, wouldn't it be funny if I came on the show and I had a crush on you, and I did the Sharon Stone thing.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started, from the Four Seasons there. But there were 2 Gary stories that I like to tell. And one is when I first got there. Is this too long? Am I going on too long?
I love this.
All right.
You can never go on too long about Gary Shandling.
When I first got there at the show, I mean, I was kind of in awe, like you. I'm sitting there and I'm watching them do the talk show segment, and it was done in basically like a talk show set with a lot of seats for an audience. And I was just sitting in the dark in the audience, no audience, but seats. And I'm watching him do his Sanders thing. And we're going to do a scene in a hallway afterwards where I get bumped and I get pissed off. And he comes back into the audience and he's looking at the stage, and he looks at me, and it's clear he has no idea who I am or why I'm there. And because they had told me, oh, Gary loves you, he wants you on the show. And I'm sitting there and he looks at me and I'm like, hey, nothing, right? So we go back and we go to shoot the hallway scene, and we shoot one take, and Gary cuts and he looks at me and he goes, you know, like he does, he kind of just scrutinizes me. And he goes, how old are you? And I said, 33. And he goes, what took you so long? You know, which I thought was such a great compliment, right? So that was always that's how I met him.
Can I interrupt story number 2 with off of story number 1? I did Colbert's show in like 2005.
Yeah.
And then I did it again 4 years later. And he comes to meet the guests before the show.
Right.
He's like, hey, it's so nice to meet you. And I'm like, I was crestfallen.
Right.
It was like, wow, I did not leave a dent in
Really?
that first impression. Yeah, well, hopefully he was busy.
He should have a guy telling him.
I'm still
He
a
should
little
have a handler.
still wounded.
He should have a guy whispering.
Yeah, no, you had him.
You
in
met
2005.
Bill.
He was telling me it was great.
Ask about his.
It probably
ask
wasn't
about his
good. That's
daughter's
why.
name is. Ask about. You know, it's like that one.
That's what like Obama has, right? When
course.
Obama's at a cocktail party.
I heard about it first that Don Rickles had somebody like that, which is
Don Rickles?
Yeah, which is fantastic. Well, I mean, he's been in show business for 80 years.
He's still alive.
He's got somebody in his ear.
All right, story number 2. Shandling.
So I take Shandling. He's in New York, and I say, I got to get you to the Rucker tournament because
you're a real hoops fan, and you go.
Well,
to the
I'm a real
Rucker
hoops fan.
tournament.
I'm a New York
legit.
guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's holy. And guys and people outside of the city don't know it, really. They still don't know it. I mean, maybe they've seen some stuff now that there's so much on cable. I think there was a show about it, maybe.
There's never the right documentary.
Not about that.
No.
And because it's a feeling there that is nowhere else. And in fact, there was later on in the day, there was a guy doing commentating on the court.
Yeah.
You know, there's a guy with a mic talking to people who are dribbling
Too
by
loudly.
name.
There he is.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
Yeah.
So, and
I don't
Gary
love
was like,
that.
"That's the future of commentating." So get ready,
Wow.
get ready to get out there with the players.
It's gonna be Stephen A. Smith.
Exactly.
Mike just wandering on the
LeBron,
court.
is LeBron go pass? No, LeBron go shoot.
LeBron's hair is melting off.
So, excuse me. We get there, and it's all black. I mean, it's a homogenous group, and Gary and I are, two of maybe 10 white guys who are there, and
Patrick Cassidy.
Yeah, Patrick, who oddly enough was passed to all day long, and this guy comes up to Gary, and he says, "Gary Shanley, you are nonchalantly talented." And to this day, it's like
That's amazing.
It's the
nonchalantly talented.
I know.
I don't
I always
totally
say to
know
Gary,
what that means.
I know, but you do and you don't, and that's like a gravestone moment.
That would have been a good name for the website. We tried to name our website for
Nonchalantly.
we went with the Ringer, but nonchalantly
No,
talented.
I like the
think
Ringer. I like the Ringer.
Nonchalantly talented is not bad. That's something. Maybe that's like a Showtime pilot.
Nonchalantly talented.
Nonchalantly talented.
It's perfect and mystical and undefinable.
I hate to do this to you, but the Knicks
Tell
aren't,
that story again.
The Knicks aren't good. The Knicks aren't good
didn't
at
get it.
basketball.
No, the Knicks aren't good at basketball.
They haven't been good at basketball.
Love Porzingis.
You like Porzingis.
I like Porzingis.
But then they have Derek Fisher, who's terrible. They fire him.
How
they
can you tell if Derek Fisher's terrible?
Because I watch Knicks games.
Oh, so you watch the way they're coached? I can't
Yeah.
tell the coaching.
I was like, are you tanking? You don't have a first round pick. Like, it would be one thing if like they were playing the way they played, but they had their first round pick. I'd be like, oh, he's kind of an evil genius. He's doing just enough to blow these games down the stretch, but they didn't have their first round pick.
You're really putting me in a tough spot because
Oh, you don't want to? Yeah, you don't want the Knicks to get mad at you.
yeah.
All right, so let me just say stuff, and you
Okay.
be uncomfortable. So they haven't really
I like
succeeded
taking
in
Stephen
15,
a bad Nick game.
15, 16 years. Not a lot of success.
been a long
They've had
time.
like one winning
been
playoff
a long
series.
time.
But yeah, Porzingis shows up.
I love Porzingis.
The Knicks fans all get mad. They're mean to him at the draft.
Right. Now they
Everyone
love him.
goes crazy, and now he's like the savior.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I don't know what his limit is.
I know what his limit is right now. It's Kurt Rambis. Kurt Rambis, there's a story today. It's like, we think Porzingis his future might be at small forward. It's like,
He's 7'3".
Yeah. You've literally, the way basketball is being played now, where everyone's looking for a stretch five who can shoot threes on one end and play defense on the other end. This guy fell out of the fucking sky. He can shoot threes and he can protect the rim. This is it. You have the perfect stretch five. He's like, he might be a small forward.
That's a good
What a
point.
moron. I thought that was fireable.
Well,
I mean, every other team in the league would
how about
literally
Phil
commit a
Jackson?
murder for him.
How about Phil Jackson comparing Steph Curry to who did he?
Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf,
Yeah.
Chris Jackson?
Yeah. What was that?
Phil's he's reached that
He's
stage.
a bit of a hater.
No, he's like that. Like when you get together for a big family gathering at Thanksgiving, you have like the crazy uncle or the grandfather is like, people are just afraid of Trump. He's speaking the truth. That's
Right.
like the guy, and everyone's like, all right, Uncle
Right.
Jack, that's cool.
Right.
That's kind of what Phil Jackson's turned into at the NBA.
He thinks
says
he's-
stuff, everyone's like, okay, cool, Phil Jackson. That's great.
It made no sense though. That
No. It doesn't make sense that he's running a
I don't
team.
know why Rambis is coaching right now. I mean, Rambis knows that he's not
Rambis
the coach.
doesn't know.
He knows he's not the coach. He doesn't want to be head coach.
Well, maybe the small forward move is Rambis's way of
Trying
saying
to get fired.
Well, no, or the other way. It's like maybe it's such a Hail Mary if it works. I'm like, oh my God, Kurt Rambis.
He's a
Nobody
genius.
else saw it.
He's
Porzingis is a small forward.
he's a guard.
Yeah.
He's a 7'3" guard.
Why not? Play him a point guard.
Have Porzingis bring the ball up. I want to see that. How about
Rappaport-
hiring Dave Blatt? How about hiring Dave Blatt to coach the
Little
Knicks?
Princeton?
Steve Mills hires
You
Dave
didn't keep
Blatt.
in touch with him, though.
That's all right. We'll get back together. I just heard from my the shortstop on the team today. I haven't heard from him in 30 years. It can, people get back in touch.
What made you decide to do X-Files again?
Just because it was there, and it just seemed like something to try and see if we still had life left in that thing.
And the answer was yes, right?
I guess the answer is yes.
Why do you guess?
Well, no, it is. I mean, it's just I always thought we would continue to do movies of X-Files and not the television show. That was always my desire and my thoughts when I left the show.
Right.
And for some reason, the second movie just soured the taste of the franchise for Fox. And, you know, we talked about doing all these comic books, and here's a homegrown franchise that they own.
Yeah.
And they treat it like crap in a way. You know, we
Sounds like Grantland.
Okay. Well, you understand how this goes.
I do. I deeply, deeply
It's
understand.
very odd.
Yeah.
I'm sure you were
The hardest thing to
confused.
do is, the hardest thing to do is create a brand. Like when we did 30 for 30,
Right.
we finished 30 for 30. Everybody liked it. It won awards.
Loved it.
And then they were like, okay, we're good. And we're like, but everyone, it's already in the DVR season pass and people like it and it's a brand. And if we released another one, people get excited. And they were like, no, we're going to brand this stuff ESPN Films. And we're like, but it's a brand. People like we're releasing documentaries now and people are calling them 30 for 30s and they're not 30 for 30. Like we should run with the 30 for. It's really hard to create a brand.
Do you know how many times I've seen, is it Survive in Advance?
Yes, that was a 30 for 30.
That one kills me.
John Hawk. It's a good one. Valvano.
You know what else is great? Is Muhammad and Larry.
One of the first ones. He just died, measles.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
I like that one. That was one of my favorite 30 for 30 stories because we were going around all these directors trying to convince them to be in the first batch because everybody's like, ESPN, you guys don't know how to do documentaries. Why would I do this?
Right.
And we hit a couple, and then we met with, I always forget if it's Maisels or Maisels. I think it's one of those. You can go either way. But he's talking, he's like, you know, I did this documentary once with
When We Were Kings?
No, he was like
When We Were Kings?
Before the Holmes Ali fight, and we never did anything with it. I think it's in a warehouse somewhere. And the people that were meeting with him from our side were like, "What warehouse? What?" And so they go and they find, and he's got all this footage he shot, documentary style, of Larry Holmes and Muhammad Ali leading up to that fight. And we were like, "Oh my God!"
How about that footage of Ali trying to hit the speed bag?
That's rough. There's some rough Ali footage out there. I was watching because I'm a weirdo. I was watching A Football Life with Lyle Alzado on the NFL Network. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do on a Friday night.
Right.
And I've totally forgot Ali fought him for like 10 rounds. Ali had all these fights.
Fought who?
He fought Lyle Alzado at Mile High Stadium.
Why did he fight?
Because Ali he needed money. He just fought all the time. He'd fight us right now if we had $10.
How could Alzado go?
Because he was a Golden Gloves guy,
he
had 40 pounds of steroids in his body. And
did he fight him or run from him?
No, he fought him and punched him. And in the second round, he was really hitting him. And Ali got pissed.
Yeah,
because Ali was like, this is an exhibition.
Thought it was an exhibition.
I was like, oh, boom. And just started peppering him for the rest of the round. Alzado's like, but, oh, wait. So X-Files is a brand.
Yes. So Fox has it. So you'd think.
So it comes back.
Well, for the second movie, Fox spent like $30 million, nothing, and brought it out against Batman and these summer blockbusters. So
that's a mistake.
It's a huge mistake. So if you have your brand, you have your franchise, it's a sci-fi blockbuster type show, spend the money and make it bigger. But they made us smaller, and the movie did okay, but it didn't do what the first one did, so it seemed to take the air out of everything.
And they gave up.
Yeah, they pretty much did give up. And I think what happened was with the revolution in cable television and then kind of going over to network TV where people started seeing 8 and 10 and 12 episode seasons of things, it became a no-brainer to go, okay, well, why don't we do, because none of us are interested in doing 20 or 24 again. An amount of episodes is just not doable at this stage for any of us. So we thought 6, 8, 10, 12, yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
So if you did a movie, it would have been 2 hours.
Right. But
if you do an 8-episode show, when you remove all the commercials, it's 45 times 8 is, I don't know, 6 hours.
Yeah.
So basically you're filming a 6-hour movie.
And honestly, when all is said and done, I don't know that a 2-hour frame is the best thing for the X-Files.
I don't think it is either.
I think it's a long, because the show itself has so many different tonalities and it has mythology, it has humor, it can sometimes have romance, it can be a thriller, it can be sci-fi, it can be paranormal, it can be all these different things, and it's hard to do all that in 2 hours, but if you expand to 8 or 10 hours, you can do it.
And you also had, so the X-Files, what year did it start? I forget.
93.
93, pre-internet.
Yeah.
And then as it's going along.
Yeah. I said that they told me like in the third or fourth year, oh yeah, there's this thing where people are in chat rooms talking about the show, and I was like, that sounds so stupid.
I had the exact, my friend Nick Aida in Boston, I went to college with, they were all in the X-Files, and one time he was in some area, like a message board in there, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Like, it was like he was
what a waste of time.
It's like a child pornographer or something. It's
Right.
like, wait, get out of there. What's going on? You're just talking to people who you don't know these people? What's
Right.
happening?
Right.
And then it kind of took off.
Right.
You know what else is interesting about the X-Files? I had this, I forget where I heard this from. It's not mine, but now I steal it and I pretend it's mine. It's a great theory.
Yeah.
Nostalgia. Basically, it's about the 20-year mark with nostalgia. It's somewhere around there when something hits, and then about 20 years later, people are ready to redo it. And the best example of this is the Brady Bunch movie. Remember when the first Brady Bunch movie came out? It was like literally 20 years after the Brady Bunch, and everybody was like, this is great, the Brady Bunch, ha, ha, ha. Now I can take my kids to the Brady Bunch. And it kind of just capitalized on that. X-Files, it's been about 20 years, so you have all the people that loved it initially, but now, like, let's say I'm 40 and I have a 14-year-old kid, I can watch it with the 14-year-old kid. Right. Now you're getting this new generation.
Well, you just don't want to come back as farce. What's that saying? History repeats itself as first as
you want
tragedy.
To be a modernized version of it.
Yes. You don't, like the Brady Bunch came back as kind of a tongue in cheek.
It was making fun of it.
Right,
yeah.
Right. So we didn't really, feel
you
like
were continuing it.
That's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
We didn't feel like yet going out there and
making fun of it. But you know what I mean, though.
I do.
Like you're basically exploiting people's love for something that happened a certain time away.
In fact, I have a similar theory in the book.
Yeah.
At some point when you read it.
You just gave it to me.
I know. No, I wasn't saying
I felt
when you read it. I heard it come out that way. I didn't mean it. But the narrator of the book has the theory that the decades are actually the decades after them. So the 60s is really the 70s, and the 70s is really the 80s, because it takes 10 years for the decade to fully become itself. So
yeah, we're probably.
So now we're really in the aughts right now. Is what we're really in.
And I don't think we've figured out that we're in the social media, immersed in the social media. But I think next decade we're going to be like, oh my God.
Right. We'll figure it out.
People are now going to lunch with each other, but just texting each other instead of actually having a conversation. That's where we're heading, I think.
Well, you see the way your kids do it, right?
How old are your kids?
17, going to be 17 in April and 14 in June.
So the 14 is more in that whole generation.
No, 17-year-old's definitely in that generation. I mean, she's
both of them.
Yeah, they don't talk on the phone really. They just text.
My daughter communicates with her friends on text with emojis and bitmojis.
I was so pleased. I got an X-File bitmoji.
By it.
Yeah.
Congratulations!
It was a big moment in my household that I bitmojied my daughter with my own personal X-File bitmoji, and I don't know if I've ever felt prouder. Or I don't know if she's ever felt prouder of me. I don't know which.
We were at the Kings game last night, and they do this thing with emojis with the players, where they give them an emoji with 3 logos, and they have to guess what it is. So they're holding the sheet up, and they're like, my daughter's like, Clockwork Orange. Like, she just, it's like this, they're at this whole other level of understanding symbols and figures and how to put them together as sentences. And all the parents were just sitting there confused.
Yeah, my daughter's like my tech support.
Yeah.
I just hand her my phone and she makes it work.
I don't get it. No. It scares me a little bit. But on the other hand, I'm sure we scared our parents the same way, right?
Yeah. My father had a reel-to-reel, tape recorder that he listened to Billie Holiday on, and then I had a record player, and then I had cassettes, and then I had CDs, and whatever. It just changes. I think the human experience, I don't think human nature changes. We just, our tools change a little bit. So I think it appears scarier than it really is. There are all these studies about what it does to your brain. I don't know.
What was the best under 25 either critique or compliment or whatever you heard about the X-Files as it hit this new generation?
Oh, I kind of stay away from reading. I just Google.
Did you feel like it regenerated the interest in the alien and what the hell's out there?
I feel like it did a little bit. I feel like the kids like that. But I don't know. I didn't really seek that stuff out, so I don't know.
So you avoid all that stuff.
I avoid it when I can. Yeah, I avoid it as much as I can. I haven't read reviews for probably 15, 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Just avoid everything?
Mm-hmm.
It's an impressive discipline.
It is. It is. It's hard because, this, you'll always get like your friend who says, I don't care what the New York Times says.
You're like, what did they say? Your buddy from Californication,
Evan?
Your sidekick.
Evan Handler.
Yeah.
Love Evan.
He is in the OJ movie or the OJ miniseries
Right.
as Alan Dershowitz
Is he?
with a.
I missed the OJ
With a
thing.
perm afro.
I hear it's good.
Oh, you're missing out.
Should I watch it? Should I binge watch it?
Yes.
I'll binge watch it.
Yes, you should
Okay.
absolutely.
How many
binge watch
episodes
it.
are there?
I think we're through 6. Travolta plays Shapiro.
That's good. I love Travolta. I think
Malcolm
he's a
Jamal
great actor.
Warner is AC Cowlings.
Is he really?
Rod Tidwell is OJ.
Who is?
Rod Tidwell, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Okay. It's like, I don't know that actor.
There's a whole bunch of them. Courtney Vance is Johnny Cochran.
I hear he's great.
He's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
There's actually, I think there probably somebody's. I think the Sarah Paulson plays Marcia Clark. I think she's actually going to win the Emmy for something.
Sarah Paulson's a terrific actress.
Really good.
Yeah.
Good in Studio 60, which I still have a lot of regrets about.
Yes. Yes.
I still think that
Amanda
show could have
Peet.
made it.
Amanda Pete.
Yeah. That was Matthew Perry's
Yes.
kind of his moment to
Yeah.
branch out from Friends with this
Yeah.
awesome. And he was like, it was a career year for him. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. Well,
show just
I don't know
didn't
why
take
it didn't.
I know why. Because Sorkin tried to write the sketches.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then 30 Rock happened at the same time, right?
Yeah, and that didn't help either.
Right. So you
Yeah.
couldn't have two shows.
No,
about that
somebody
song.
had to win. There could only be one. Hey, can we talk about how your theory about how older women like my mom love Californication
Yeah. How
for
old is your
cultural
mom?
reason? My mom is. I'm just gonna say it. I don't care if she gets
Yeah.
mad at me. My mom is 67.
All right. Well, that's perfect. This is no good will come to me from this discussion.
Yeah, no, this is a theory. You're not supporting it.
I have been approached by women of that age who say it's refreshing to see a man behave that way unapologetically. That's all I'll say. It's just anecdotal. It's happened a few times on the street in New York.
You felt like that was a base of that show, were older women in their 50s and 60s that Hank Moody responded, or
Oh God, no. No, I don't. I don't.
oh, so I went
don't.
too far.
I don't think there's actually any truth to the fact that we have a demographic in that age group.
Well, that would make me
But
feel
I'm
better
just
if there
saying,
was with my mom.
anecdotally.
No?
I'm just saying, anecdotally, it's happened a few
Couldn't you
times.
have lied?
You know what? I'll call Showtime and I'll say, "Show me the graph."
My mom loved that show, and I was always like,
That's
I don't know.
That's a little disturbing.
Yeah, I might be. Her favorite movie is Sex, Lies, and Videotape. Which
Okay.
also
Well, this is about your mom, really.
maybe it is. Did that show go on the right amount of time? 1 year
Yes.
too long or 1
Yeah.
year too early?
Everything goes on too long, but it was the right amount of time. At the same time, if I can answer both, you never know. I mean, with a show like that, it's like every year you could find your mojo. It just depends on. Every year was a different milieu that the guy was in. So, like, does it work in the rock and roll world? Does it work when he's a TV writer? You just never know what's gonna really work for that.
What's your favorite thing you've done?
I mean, sentimentally, I don't think I was ever happier than when I was directing a movie called House of Deeds, the one movie that I've written and directed. And I just think, like, on all levels, like spiritually, soulfully, creatively, I was involved. So, regardless of the end product or whether or not you like it or hate it or whatever, personally, the act of doing it was probably the most fulfilling I've had as a creative professional.
So what's next? Your book comes out.
Book comes out. I'm actually I made some music last year. I'm going to tour Europe with it. I have an album.
What?
Oh, you didn't? I should have brought you that.
No.
Yeah. I started playing music just recently, like 4 or 5 years ago, and then I started writing songs, and I recorded an album. It sounds like a terrible, terrible idea. I realize that, and as you're sitting there, I can see it on your face.
No, I'm more confused. I didn't know you played music.
Yeah, I didn't. It's new. It's new. I'm a bad guitar player, but I'm good enough to put chords together and and find melodies and I write lyrics and
I would have reacted the same if you had said, on the side I'm working on some nuclear fusion. I'd be like, what?
I know. So I'll be a little tour of Europe. The album's been out almost a year. It's like, it's not the kind of music that people. It's like 70s rock. It's like the rock that you probably you might even like it. I'll send you a CD.
I was devastated when Sirius got rid of the Yacht Rock channel.
Yacht Rock. What is
They had a
Yacht Rock?
channel.
Tell me what Yacht Rock is, and I'll tell you whether I fit in there.
Okay. Yacht Rock was a very happy
Don't
genre.
say Jimmy Buffett.
No, Jimmy Buffett was his own thing. Now this is more like the Eagles, Take It Easy, through Christopher Cross, Doobie Brothers. To me, Michael McDonald is the face of Yacht Rock.
Okay, it's not quite Yacht Rock.
Okay.
I would say it's more like Wilco, Petty, maybe Lou Reed, a little Lou Reedy, if I'm lucky. You'll
I don't know
judge.
what I would call that.
You'll judge.
Chevy Rock,
Chevy Rock.
Lou Reedy.
Lou Reedy.
Lou Reed got dark.
Yeah, there's some darkness to it. I mean, it's not happy music.
So you're touring Europe.
Lyrically.
Like what parts of Europe?
Glasgow, London, Paris, Madrid,
So you're really doing this.
Zurich, places I've never been.
You continue to fascinate me.
Gonna
You're
do-
always up to stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to do 10 dates in 14 days. It's going to be a whirlwind. And the rooms are, like 1,500, 2,000 people. They're not tiny.
Wow.
So, and I've done about 10, 15 concerts, and it's fun. I find it interesting.
And
Okay.
X-Files is happening again?
It might.
It has to, right? It did well. Anytime
It
something
probably
does
has to.
well, they bring it back.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
You should pretend you're not going to do it again. As your unofficial agent, like, nah,
Just
we
pretend.
did it. I can't imagine
It just
why we
depends
do it
on
again.
scheduling with Jillian. She lives in London, and Chris Carter, whether or not he wants to do it again. Because he's got the lion's share of the work. He writes most of them, and he's been directing them. That's a lot more work. I just directed an Aquarius that we're shooting. Just
We forgot
in,
to
in
talk
your
about
neighborhood.
Aquarius.
In your
My mom
neighborhood.
watches that show too. She's all in on
Have you
Duchovny.
thought maybe she's just a fan of me?
Oh, I haven't thought it. I know it.
Okay. Well, then maybe she doesn't really like Californication, but she watches it because I'm in it a little bit. I don't know.
No, I think it's both.
Aquarius, it's a time she remembers. It's nice. It's the 60s. So we're
Manson.
we're just finishing the second season in the next couple weeks.
How many seasons does
13.
that go?
How many seasons? It could go 5. 5 is like the vision for the series. I don't know if we're gonna get to go 5, but five would be the show.
What lasts longer, Aquarius or the Knicks in the lottery?
What do you mean by the Knicks in the lottery?
I mean, when do the Knicks make the playoffs again?
Oh,
When are you going to a Knicks playoff game? Oh wow, this long pause is not good for the Knicks. It's really not.
see, I don't want to just go to the playoffs. I want to rebuild.
You want to go backwards again. You have your next 2 first rounders,
When does that happen?
17 and 18. You have those.
Who did we give up this year for?
You should have traded Carmelo. That was the move. You should have traded him this year and gotten a lottery pick for
Where
him.
would Carmelo go?
Anywhere. By the time
You think
you're good again,
think
he's
LeBron would
washed
have
up.
taken Carmelo?
I actually think the Celtics would have made a lot of sense. I'm not just saying that because that's my team. Because the Celtics have all these picks and they wanted to be good and they were ready to actually overpay to get a guy.
Right.
And that's the perfect team to trade with. You want to trade with somebody that's doing something for not necessarily a smart
Cleveland
reason.
took JR. Can you explain to me the shoelace incident?
I can't explain anything with J.R. Smith, but I can explain this. I just can't see him winning a title.
You think he'll just do something to get in the way?
I just think he's like a stick of dynamite. That's
He
just,
is.
it's just.
What an athlete, though, huh?
What an athlete.
Yeah.
He's just these guys that always get in incidents and have weird things happen. And
The shoelace thing, it was stupid. I didn't get it. I just didn't know what
I don't
he
get
was.
anything with him.
I didn't know what he was doing. You asked if I had any experiences with players. When I watched the Lakers. All right, there's two stories.
Sure.
Okay. One is about me. The first one is I didn't have a great experience playing at Princeton. Like I came out of high school, all I wanted to do was play ball. I knew I wasn't going to be a pro at that point, but I did want to play in college, and it didn't work out for me the way I wanted it to.
Fucking Blatt.
It was Blatt and Mills.
It's Blatt's fault.
And it was always like a heartbreak for me.
Yeah.
It still is. You know, it's just it's something I missed. And so the Sacramento Kings were playing the Lakers in, I think, 2000 when they had Weber and Vlade, and they were great. They were better than the Lakers.
Yeah.
And I knew a little bit the Maloofs who owned the team. I don't know if they own it anymore.
They do not.
And Pete Carrill was the assistant coach, who was the legendary coach of Princeton when I was there. Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. I'm gonna talk to Coach Carrill and I'd love to just shake his hand and say hi. And I went up to the Maloofs and I said, after the game, do you think maybe I could say hi to Coach Carrill? And they said, sure, we'll tell him. And then I don't know if you remember this game, but the Kings should have won. They had the game.
That was the whole series. Was
Fourth
this the Robert
quarter,
Horry shot?
Kobe went to the line. No, it was the game before that.
Oh, the game 6?
The refs sent Kobe to the line.
Oh, this was the famous game you're talking about. Game 6.
It was a total job.
Yeah. Game 6. Legendary game.
It was.
I remember where I watched that game. It was so
horrifying.
shady. Yeah.
It was horrifying.
It was the league basically saying, we're sending the Lakers to the finals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Kings were good. They had
Kings
Bibby.
were better.
They were better.
Yeah. Because game 4 they had lost on the miracle Robert Horry shot,
Right.
and then this game was basically called in by Vince
It was like
McMahon.
when the league gave Wade the championship against.
Oh yeah.
You know, they just sent him
Big
to the
fat
line.
ribbon on it.
They just sent him to the line.
Yeah. Anytime he goes to basket, call foul.
Right. So I'm glad we cleared this up.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah. So they give the Lakers that game. And I went to the Maloofs and I said, I understand if Coach doesn't want to. That was horrible.
Yeah.
I said, I really feel bad about that game. If he doesn't want to talk. And they said, no, we told him he'd love to see you. So I wait in that, that archway that they always shoot in movies, when you're going out to the court, right? Like that dramatic. And I see this figure waddling at me, and he's tiny and round, Coach Carrill. And he always kind of shuffles. He always got a cigar. And he gets within about 20 feet of me, and he goes, "Aren't you glad I cut you?" And I was like, and he's still walking towards me. And I'm like, well, I think I quit to play baseball. But no, he says, no, I cut you. I was like, no, Coach, I think I quit. He goes, that doesn't matter. You're doing so well. Look at you. You're doing great. I was like, yeah, how are you? It's nice to see you. So
what a weird opener.
It was great. It was so Coach Carrill. It was so perfect. And it kind of summed up my entire basketball experience at Princeton.
What was second string?
I was just happy he remembered me. One game, they were playing the Blazers and Sabonis years, and they blew them out. So in the fourth quarter, Glenn Fry, who was sitting next to me, rest in peace, got up to go. So now I wasn't with him; we were just sitting together. And then
did you say take it easy to him?
I did not.
No, okay.
I did not. And so I've got an empty seat courtside, and earlier in the game, the ball boy had come up to me because I'd made eye contact with Shaq, and you know how it is. Well, when you're commentating, it was different because you couldn't really be a fan.
Oh no, I probably tried to still be a fan.
But like when I'd sit and kind of try to make eye contact with players that I like if I can, just to see if they recognize me. And like when I met Walt Frazier, that was huge for me. Like, he had no idea who I was. That's fine, but I got to meet him.
He's like, I love the Z Files.
he tried to rhyme my name, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I was whooping and swooping. So, so the ball boy, I said, the ball boy comes up to me, like in the middle of first quarter, and he says, Shaq wants to know if you're going to do any more X-Files, because I had left the show at that point.
During the game?
Yeah. And I said, I don't know, but tell Shaq, because Shaq wants you to know he doesn't watch the show if you're not on it. So I said, tell Shaq I don't watch the Lakers when he's injured. So he goes there, and I see Shaq laugh, and I'm like,
yeah,
it's happening. It's on, me and Shaq. So the game goes on. Glenn Fry leaves, and they take Shaq out. 8 minutes to go. I mean, it's a blowout. And Shaq, instead of going to the bench, sits in Glenn Fry's seat next to me. And the whole stadium is laughing. And, I feel kind of like the butt of a joke, but it's okay. I also am very self-conscious about I felt tiny next to him. I
You're
had
like
no
Tattoo in Fantasy Island next time.
I did.
Yeah.
I felt like less than a man all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I was trying to sit up straight. And I have a great picture from the LA Times the next day of he and I sitting together. So then we kind of spent the last 4 minutes of the quarter just hanging out and talking.
This must have been after Shaq won 3 titles.
Did they let him sit in the crowd?
Well, that's when he was like, I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do weird stuff, like sit next to celebrities in the stands.
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm sure you're shown all the time on the Jumbotron, video screen, whatever it's called.
Very hard. It's a hard moment. Let me
they keep it on for 4 seconds too long.
Let me out the moment.
Yeah, please.
I'll give you my thought process. First of all, they come to you and they ask, can we put you on? I'm getting the free tickets. I want to say no. I don't want to be on the Jumbotron, but I feel like I should. It's only right. Right? I mean, I'd really be an asshole to say, yes, I'll take the free ticket, but no, you can't put me on the Jumbotron.
Right.
Agreed?
Agreed. Have to. You have to put in the time.
I think so.
They hooked you up.
Now, they come to you a couple minutes before and they say, next commercial, you're gonna go on. And now I start to sweat, and I'm like, and
Do I have kale in my teeth?
I'm doing my hair. But my biggest fear is that, well, first of all, I am listening to the applause that the other people up on the Jumbotron get.
So you're applause competitive.
How do you not?
Yeah.
How do you not? I don't want to, and I act like I'm talking when it's happening, but I'm really listening. And I just don't want to get booed, basically. And I don't know why they would boo me.
Yeah, because you're a Knicks fan. They're not.
Well, no.
I guess at a Laker
I'm talking about
game,
in New York.
Yeah.
Now they don't know me as a Knicks fan in LA. It's just, I just have this.
Well, why would you get booed in New York?
It's just me. I'm just thinking like, I just don't want them to laugh or boo. It's just like a primal thing.
Okay.
It's like.
I just thought you had bought enough
just
cachet
total
with
silence,
the Knicks fans.
or just total
silence would be the worst.
Right. So that's all I'm thinking. It's like, please don't let the boos outweigh the cheers or the laughter outweigh both of those things, and let there not be silence. And it does go on for too long. And what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to, you wave, or you give them the thumbs up, or you like, I like it in fights, where they want to.
The boxers just do this. The boxers have the best out for all of this. Any picture, anything, they just do.
But fans, they're like, they feel like they gotta like throw punches at the camera. What are you supposed to do at a ball game? And then you're like looking at yourself, and that always looks bad.
It's never good.
It's a lose-lose, but you got to pay the dues.
So Jay-Z is the best I've ever seen at this.
At it? What does he do?
So Jay-Z will be courtside for like a Clippers game with Beyonce, right? So first of all, he pretends complete surprise that he's on, even though the cameraman's been there. He's like, and then he laughs.
And it makes him happy that he's
he
on?
laughs hysterically.
Right.
He looks over to who he's with, has another laugh, looks back up, laughs again, and then it's over. Wow. And if the camera's still on him, he's just makes it uncomfortable for the day. Basically, like, I'm done with this.
Oh, really? He stops laughing.
Yeah, it's just done. He's like back. He's like, oh, I'm probably not on camera anymore, even though he knows he is. And they just have to turn, because then it's just like you're being weird, putting a camera on somebody who's not looking.
Okay, that's good. But you know who's actually the best?
Who?
Dustin Hoffman.
Really? What does he do?
He always does the kiss cam.
Smart.
And he always does it with the person who's not his wife, like next to him. Or he's always got a plan. And I saw him do it once with Jason Bateman.
The kiss cam comedian.
Yeah, he's great. And he did it once. They came, they do the kiss me, right?
Yeah.
And he had a Kobe mask on, and he kissed somebody wearing a
Kobe mask is dangerous. That could go in a lot of bad directions.
Well, Dustin is the best he dominates the kiss cam in LA.
That's
he
great.
Dominates.
At the Kings games.
And he works it, he's always got a thing. He never comes unprepared.
He's like Louis C.K. He does a fresh hour of comedy every year.
It's impressive.
At the LA Kings game, they show these two old people at the end of every kiss cam thing who just make out. And they've got to be a combined 1180 years old, and the crowd goes crazy.
I know people like to hate on the kiss cam, but
kiss cam's phenomenal.
I have wept during the kiss cam.
Really?
I
tears of joy or actual tears?
I feel it's beautiful. I like to see, I think it's like, I like the song. The song is nice. And I just like, sometimes you see like an old couple and they'll just kiss and you just feel like their love and their longevity, and it's like I like the kiss cam. I don't know why it belongs in a sporting event, but
I've always thought it should be when ABC, you know, they'll have a show and it'll get canceled after 2 episodes, and then they don't know what to do, and they just replay Scandal. I think they should just run the kiss cam for an hour. I think it would work. The kiss cam does something to people when they see it. They just watch this, and if you look around when the kiss cam's happening, everyone is watching it. They're more interested in the kiss cam than the game. So there's some sort of something there.
There's something about the kiss cam.
And there's a couple kiss cam gimmicks that always work, like putting the wrong 2 people in the shot.
And then you go over.
And then they go over, oh no, that's the one. Or putting the 2 guys next to each other always kills. So my daughter, every time they do the kiss cam, she literally
Do they do it in every arena, everywhere?
Everywhere.
They do.
Kiss cam is, it's guaranteed.
Right.
She hides.
Oh, she hides. Just
And she
in case.
hides under the seat because she doesn't want to be on the kiss cam with me,
blame
which
her.
hurts my feelings.
No, it shouldn't. But
Well, one time she's gonna.
if I go with you, I won't hide.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, it's like it's just standard. She just hides behind the seat, and it's like when she's like 23, is she still gonna be doing this? Like, when does this end?
She won't be with you when she's 23.
That's true. I have her for like another year, right? How much longer do I have? She turns 11 in 6 weeks.
3 or
Another
4
year?
years. Yeah, you got a couple years.
I got a couple years.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
It depends.
that's great.
Depends on puberty and all that. You know, it's a different call.
She's probably my best friend. She's gonna be gone in a year.
I know, but she'll
It's really
always,
sad. I feel like she's going off to war or something. Really, she's just going off to administration.
Yeah.
She's just gone.
Well, it is sad, but it's beautiful and it's right. It's the way things are.
I think it's just sad. I don't see the beautiful part at all.
Well, once she leaves you, which she will, you will probably cry at the kiss cam. That's probably what it is.
I'll miss seeing her duck in the seat. There would just be nobody next to me.
It's a beautiful story. I would miss that too. I would miss that.
When I interviewed Obama for GQ, I talked about his daughters with him, and he actually got like a tiny bit emotional talking about like how he's lost his daughters and he's not cool to them anymore, and he's been told they come back eventually. And I'm thinking like, he's the president.
Yeah. Right.
And even his daughters don't think he's cool. Right. So I know it's going to happen to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm definitely not as cool as the POTUS, and his daughters ditched him.
Yeah.
It's sad. I think if she ditches me, I might just adopt like another 8-year-old. You know, like in TV sitcoms that lasted too long when somebody joins the cast.
You can cast your life like
somebody
a TV
with like curly hair. Yeah. Be like, oh, she's been added to the cast this year. Like, oh, watch it. You're not going to the Kings game anymore? Here's our new cast member. Some 8-year-old.
Yeah. Do you just have the one daughter?
And a son.
How old is he?
He's 8. He's going to live at home till he's like 38. So I'm good with him.
Yeah, boys are not
He wants
smart.
to be a professional wrestler.
Smart.
No, they're really stupid.
No.
They're stupid human beings.
But you'll have him, so don't worry about it.
I'm going to have him forever. I'm going to be supporting him.
Yeah.
He's going to be in college for 7 years. I basically have Jimmy Buss as my son. He'll be running the Lakers someday. He's going to do something. I don't know what it'll be, but it'll be something. All right, we should go because we need the air conditioning.
It's getting
I'm
hot.
about to pass out.
It's getting hot in here.
Your new book is called Bucky Fucking Dent.
Yeah.
It's out already, right?
No, April 5th.
April 5th.
Opening day.
Opening day. Smart. Are you doing publicity for it? You're
I
going to
will.
do the usual radio?
I'll do some talk shows, some radio. I'm not nothing up at Fenway. I'd like to do something at Fenway eventually, but nothing.
Be
planned
careful
yet.
at Fenway.
Yeah.
Well, just Bucky Dent. It's still a sore subject
Really?
even after 3. Yeah.
You guys are bad winners.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
We've won like 9 titles in the last 14 years.
There's some
excited to read it.
standing legends.
Really?
Well, I chart the progression of the comeback, and then
Is this book going to hurt my feelings?
No, I think it'll make you cry. I think it might make you cry.
That won't be hard. This subject usually makes
But it's not really a baseball book. But I think it's fathers and sons, and it's really a love story. Baseball is just used as a backdrop. It's not about baseball.
What's your favorite baseball movie ever?
Field of Dreams, I guess. Is that's too obvious?
It's a great one.
What's yours?
I don't know. I battle on this.
Yeah. Bull Durham.
I watched The Natural the other day, even though Redford's about 12 years too old to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's got some great scenes. I love when he comes back for the last game and the guy's shaving.
Yeah.
And Redford comes in And he's like, my dad wanted me to be a baseball player. And the guy turns around and he's like, we are the best damn one I ever saw. Best hitter I ever seen. Suit up. I'm always like, if I'm near that part, I'm going to wait till we get to that part of the movie. Do you do that with cable?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm 15 minutes from this scene. I'm going to wait it out.
And I always got to see Pesci get it in the sand pit.
Field of Dreams I saw in college and just bought it hook, line, and sinker. But now that I'm a more cynical person, there's that one part of me like, all right, like, come on.
Bull Durham?
No, Field of Dreams.
How about Bull Durham? You like it?
Yeah. It might be a rom-com, though.
It is a rom-com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it can't be the best baseball movie.
Well, what else?
I also think For Love of the Game is underrated.
Oh.
If you took out all the rom-com scenes and just made it the baseball movie, it's awesome.
I'm not sure I
think should actually
ever
happen.
sat with that enough.
Oh, you should sit with that one. Some good casting.
That could be like Thomas Jefferson's Bible, where he edited out only Jesus's words. You could have like your version of For the Love of the Game, where you edit out. I've always
been pushing for this.
Where you edit out all. Is it Rene Russo?
No, Kelly Preston.
Kelly Preston.
It's a lot of Kelly Preston.
Yeah, so you can
just
make your own
force
version.
Feeding her in. It was like, they were like, it'll be a baseball movie for the guys, and then we'll have this thing for the women, and they'll both like it. It was like that kind of thinking. Yeah. And it's like, no, it's a baseball movie.
What about the old time? Fear Strikes Out?
No, too far back. I think the oldest.
Too weird.
The farthest, too weird too. The furthest I'd go back is the.
But you must be a big Jimmy Pearsall guy. I mean, that's an interesting story.
He's a maniac.
Yeah.
Bad News Bears and Breaking Training is probably the furthest I'd go back. You like that movie, right? You know that movie?
Is that the sequel to Bad News Bears?
It's a sequel, and they're like about 14 years old now. But the guy who plays Kelly Leak is like 30. And they have to steal a van to drive from California to Houston to play in the Astrodome. So Kelly Leak, they steal a van, and Kelly Leak drives the van from California to Houston.
All right.
And chicanery ensues. It's good. And then they play in the
Bingo
Astrodome.
Long's Traveling All-Stars.
Another great one. A lot of famous people in that one.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah, see, that's a movie you could remake every 20 years, just with a different young cast.
Hate to plug myself, but did you ever see the baseball episode of The X-Files that I did?
No.
You need to see that. You might really. It's called The Unnatural.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Are you making this up?
No.
Did you play baseball in it?
There's a famously rom-comish scene at the end where I teach Scully how to hit.
Oh, like a sexual attention sports kind of.
Well, I say things like hips before hands, and nice piece of ash you got there. That's a nice ash. Things like that. TV. Network TV. Baseball, sexual.
Network TV flirting.
Yeah, exactly.
David Duchovny, a pleasure as always.
My pleasure.
Good luck with the Knicks. Good luck with the book.
Thank you.
Thanks to Betterment, the automated investing service that builds and automatically manages a customized portfolio for each of your financial goals. Save yourself time and money. Give yourself peace of mind. Do it for a fraction of the cost of traditional investment services. Get up to 6 months of free automated investing and more information when you go to betterment.com/BS. And also thanks to HBO Now. You don't need cable or satellite to watch HBO. Download the HBO Now app and start a free 1-month trial today. Thanks to SeatGeek, the presenting sponsor of the BS Podcast and Channel 33. And thanks to TheRinger.com. A quick reminder, go to TheRinger.com. Subscribe to our new newsletter. We're closing in on 175,000 subscribers. And since we're talking about good things, our podcast network is also heating up. We've had a very successful Channel 33 podcast. We just launched the Shack House Golf podcast. We have a little political podcast going with John Favreau and Dan Pfeiffer. We're launching an NFL podcast in April. We're launching a Game of Thrones podcast next month. We have a tech podcast coming and a pro wrestling podcast coming. We want to have 12 to 15 podcasts going by this summer. So here's my point. If you ever wanted to be a presenting sponsor for any of those podcasts or for any content from The Ringer in general, you should contact us soon because those presenting sponsor spots are filling up. We love our sponsors and we are very picky. So contact us or go to theringer.com to sign up for a newsletter and get ready for more announcements soon about more writing hires. Enjoy the weekend. You may now flip.
We about this bitch. Anytime y'all want to see me again, rewind this track right here, close your eyes, and picture me rolling.